Welcome to partialarc.com. Don't do that.
I'm here to save the day. I'm here to save the day.
Soon I will be invincible. Because comics. Welcome to Because Comics. This is episode 16. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and I'm joined by my co-host, the inscrutable Mike Christensen.
What am I thinking, Jay? You don't know.
I don't know. Why?
You'll never be able to tell.
I won't. Well, I have that mind reading device that I specifically crafted.
That's true. That will help you read my mind, but you won't be able to scrutabilize me.
That is true. You are inscrutable.
As noted.
Someone out there is like, scrutable, what is that? Okay. Oh, that's what it means.
You don't really ever hear that word without the in. You don't hear that someone's scrutable that
says,
often.
You know, you're very scrutable these days. It's like, well...
Slap! No, scrutable! Scrutable!
Scrutable, oh,
I'm sorry.
I'm
not insulted.
I'm not.
That's all I got.
That's all we got. That's all we got, guys. Anyway, so this is a special episode of Because Comics.
Why is it special, Jay?
Well, I'll tell you why, Mike. Because Mike and I have kind of done a bit of a flip-flop. This is like a bizarro episode of Because Comics.
That's right. In the next few episodes, we've got some big ones coming up. Christmas and New Year's going to be a big episode.
Oh, yeah.
So we just wanted to have a fun kind of switcheroo before we get there.
Absolutely. A Freaky Friday, if you will.
If you will.
Without a lot of the weird bodily problems that comes along with it, because, no, that's what's going to happen right now?
Oh, I wish you'd said that 2 minutes ago.
Did you prep for our bodies to switch, Mike?
Okay, so... I may have shaved something funny into my body that I wanted you to see.
Oh,
like
man.
When you wake up in the morning and
now
you look and you're like, oh my god!
Is it weird that I want to know, but I guess now it'll be a little too awkward?
Not too... I mean, we'll get there.
Okay, we'll get there,
You know what?
guys.
Off mic.
I'll
show you what I shaved. And the thing is, you have to look at it from either in a mirror.
Oh, it's a special angle. Is it like those books where you'd have to look really close, but then if you kind of crossed your eyes, it would like make a picture of a seaboat captain on the oceans hunting Moby Dick?
No, it's something funny shaved into my body hair.
Oh, okay. It's one of those. Oh, okay. Perfect.
So anyway, to get to the point, Jay and I are switching up the formula just a little bit.
Yep.
So this week, Jay's going to do the main segment.
That's correct.
And then I'm going to present him with the Who Am I game at the end of the episode. But we'll get there when we get there, because first of all, we're talking about the pull list.
And Mike, what are you reading this week on your pull list?
That's right, I go first this time. I am reading a comic from Marvel about a certain character named Rocket Raccoon.
What?
I know.
Character Rocket Raccoon?
Guys, unsurprising to just about everybody, Rocket Raccoon is the best. And there's a comic about him, because of course there is.
Of course.
It's so much fun, guys. It's written and drawn by Skottie Young, who's got a real cartoony style. He does all of the Wizard of Oz comics that Marvel does. He does almost all their variant covers ever since Marvel Now launched.
I always saw those comics in stores, and the art was just so different and so stylized that I just wanted to pick them up, even though I had really no interest in reading some kind of Wizard of Oz adventure.
Yeah, he's so great, and he's so great for Rocket Raccoon. He does that zany energy, that animated sort of...
It's a cartoon raccoon that talks.
It's very wild. But it's also not like cartoon in a watered down sort of way. It's just very kinetic. And the first issue has a major scene dedicated to a wrestling match between a giant green slime monster and Groot.
Perfect.
And Rocket
Which is what I want all my wrestling matches
and Rocket's in the audience, and he's hooting and hollering. He took a date there for some reason.
Wait, guys, is a date in this comic?
Rocket's terrible with women. That's a big part of this comic, actually.
You're telling me a guy whose catchphrase is "Bam, you're dead" is terrible with women?
His catchphrase is "Bam, murdered you."
Oh, Bam murdered you,
Bam
right.
Murdered you is something he says on the regular.
He sounds like a very sensitive, emotional creature that would really get a lot of dates, Mike.
Yeah, you're wrong.
I'm
He's
wrong.
Terrible.
That's unfortunate.
Terrible with women. It's a running theme in the comic.
Unfortunate.
But Skottie Young draws this scene of the wrestling match, and there's so many colorful characters in the audience and great alien designs.
Are they like cameos?
Not really as much as there's like the most fun art design character concepts.
It's like we're having fun with this page.
Exactly, and there's like fun background details and things. And there's this mystery element that plays out over the course of the series. He's like accused. Rocket is accused of this crime.
Of this mysterious crime. An inscrutable crime, Mike?
Well, it's murder.
Oh, okay.
But not one that he's done.
So not so inscrutable of the fact, but
but what's going on,
right,
for real? Because it seems to point to him in a way that's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
There's issue 2. There's a scene where he and Groot break out of jail.
Okay,
and it's funny because there's a jailbreak scene in Guardians of the Galaxy. Not to spoil that film, but there is clearly, and you guys, I think, just talked about.
We did actually. We just talked about Guardians on the Galaxy on Blockbuster Punch Up. Yeah,
but there's a big jailbreak scene, but it all takes place in one central location in that film.
Right.
It's one big room, and there's like a center point. In this comic, the jailbreak happens over a 2-page spread where you see them like crawling through a diagram of like the sewers of the prison and like getting in fights, and it's laid out in this montage format.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's such a great design and a great layout.
Stylized like storytelling that we're seeing a lot more in comics
and
these
that
days.
happens a lot in this comic. There's also, I don't want to say too much more about the comic, just read it and enjoy. It's so zany. I'll tell you that in issue 3 they use a form of transportation, like a warp drive sort of thing.
Okay.
That I have never seen before.
Wait, how they display it, or the type of machine it is?
The device, the mechanic of it, the way that you transport. It's not a Stargate exactly. It's not a.
It's
warp
not Kirby
drive.
engines like in Young Avengers where imagination powers it.
It involves a creature.
Oh.
And that's all I'm going to say about it. Just read issue 3 and you'll see what I mean. But there's also a moment in issue 2 where we start seeing the sound effects are so much fun in this book.
Like legitimately, the bam, kapow kind of.
Because sometimes they're not bam or kapow. They're like, awesome or whatever. Like it literally says awesome.
Wait,
in
the sound
background.
effect is awesome?
Yeah. Or like at one
Punches
point,
them awesome.
There's a moment where like their spaceship stops suddenly when it sees something, and the sound effect is hold up, wait a minute. And then later in that same issue, a bunch of missiles are launching, and the sound effect is they came to drop bombs.
Wow.
Guys.
This guy is having a great time.
It's just one dude just having the time of his life.
Best time.
Oh, and it's really like, it's so much fun, guys. I don't want to say any more. Just enjoy Rocket Raccoon. It's so great.
I'm definitely going to have to check that out.
Alrighty. And, sir, what about you? What's on your pull list?
All right. My pull list for this episode is JL8. Now, if you don't know about JL8, I'm about to deliver you a wonderful treat.
Yes.
So JL8 is written and drawn by a very talented man by the name of Yale Stewart. Now, Yale Stewart, the idea around JL8 is, as it sounds, it's JL Justice League as 8-year-olds. So basically we get to see the core Justice League team of Superman, Batman, Flash, Green Lantern, we've got Wonder Woman, we've even got Power Girl in there, and we even have Martian Manhunter. And it's all of them as 8-year-olds going to like their school. I guess they would be in 3rd grade at this time. And they'd be going there and just taking their classes. Now you're probably thinking, they're gonna like fight a little doomsday, and like, no, nothing like that. It's them as kids, as what kids would do, and the problems that kids have, dealing with maybe liking girls for the first time, and cooties, and the first time, like when your friend pushes you over or doesn't like get back to you, like when everything in the world is just so big and so dramatic, like comics are, that we have these big events, but the big events aren't doomsday has come for the 3rd time and now he might be a cyborg and maybe a ghost. Now it's right. It probably happened. This time it's Clark likes you more than he likes me, and that's some of the drama. But it's, guys, the way it is drawn, the way the art is done, the way the pacing and the dialogue is so cute but so smart, and most importantly, it plays to the soul of each of these characters so well. It breaks down what we love about Superman, the quirks we love about Batman.
We should also point out that this is not an official DC comic.
Oh, it is not.
Is a free webcomic. You can just go on Tumblr and read it, but it's very much reminds me of Calvin and Hobbes, because it's very sharp and very smart and very witty, but it's got a real earnestness to it.
It does.
And like really... It's really terrific. It's something you just binge read, and
you will binge read it. It's like start on number 1. And by the way, this is up to he doesn't make any money on this. This isn't a comic being sold in stores, like Mike said. You can read this for free online. In fact, I'm going to give you the email, not the email address, the web address.
Yeah,
it's JL8 the number 8 comic.tumblr.com. So guys, please go check it out, read it. It's amazing. They're up to at the time of this episode they're recording, they're up to about 188, 189.
Yeah, they're There's something like that. It's almost 200.
Almost 200, right?
Strips.
Yeah, somewhere
now
around
there's
there.
strips, obviously they're not issues.
These aren't issues or like, it's all one long stretching story following them as they're going through school. And there aren't, there's big events here and there. Some of the different strips are just days, maybe something cute that's going on with one of the characters.
It's a lot like a comic you find in the newspaper where sometimes there's arcs, sometimes there's just one-offs, and it's just delightful.
It's amazing.
All ages, but it is the most refined version of those characters, and we've seen some villains in the show or in the series
and
as well.
And they are, for some you might think like, oh well, this is like a watered down. There are definitely hints and plays at with the characters, even the villains that are, if for some of you diehard comic fans out there who know the DC Pantheon really well, are going to see some of these moments and be like, that's pretty clever. That's pretty amazing.
There's a lot of really clever in-jokes and clever references. And there's some darker, sort of, or not darker isn't the word, but like deeper, like
really, the
emotionally
thing that this comic does really well is it can have these light, funny jokes where like, hey, Batman can pull out anything out of his utility belt and stuff like that. And by the way, these aren't them like pre-putting on their outfits.
Oh, that's one
thing to be noted.
This isn't an
8-year-old Bruce Wayne meeting Clark for some reason at a kindergarten. They are quite literally their superheroes just in third grade form. Batman literally goes to school in full Batman outfit. He has his, and this is 60s Batman.
That he's
costume, in the Adam West
eyebrows.
With the eyebrows.
And but he's very moody. He's very much of the like 90s animated Batman temperament, and he in the first issue or the first strip resents having to wear that costume.
Exactly.
But and speaking of costumes, there's a whole run they did addressing the New 52
the New 52 costumes.
Which was so clever.
It was so poignant, so clever, and again being able to hit the kind of cores of these characters that we love, and it just like in these strips that are just at times can be really cute and clever, like can really hit you, like they hit the emotional notes really, really well.
It's a really terrific series. I'm absolutely on board with Jay's referral here. Guys,
Please.
JL8, check it out.
Please check it out. So guys, that's my poll.
That's a great poll, and I think that leads us into our main segment. Jay, take it away.
It's Jay, and I'm doing the main segment. Oh, and it's Mark Millar's Nemesis. Alright, like I said, for the main segment today I'm going to be talking about Nemesis, written by Mark Millar, drawn by Steve McNiven. This came out in 2010 from Icon, so this story ran over 4 issues, and they're basically all absolutely nuts, so let's dive right into the story of Nemesis.
Now, and in keeping with our tradition, I have not read
No,
Nemesis.
Mike has not.
I remember when this was coming out, and I remember that the tagline was, what if Batman were the Joker? Or what if Batman was a total jerk? Or it was a lot of that kind of thing.
No, that's very much right. It was basically his pitch. It was Mark Millar's pitch, I think, was a little bit more colorful, but we won't say.
Words we will never use
we will never use in this podcast, but it was basically, what if Batman was the Joker? Which is, basically the worst thing possible. All the money and training of Batman, but just completely psychotic. So, the worst thing possible.
But I've not read this, so I'm interested to see what happens in these 4... It's only 4 issues. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, only 4 issues. A lot happens in these 4 issues, Mike, so I'd like everybody to take a deep breath, and here we go. So, to start, our comic opens in Tokyo, where we find our villain and title character, Nemesis, dressed fully in white, like from top to bottom, Moon Knight style, basically, staring down the police chief of Tokyo, who he's tied to a chair and positioned on train tracks.
Sure.
So, not a good situation for our police chief of Tokyo. So here we are, and Nemesis pulls out a plain white card with the chief's name on it, and it basically has a time stamped saying when he will die. And then moments later, following a lot of cursing and a bullet train, it hits the police chief at the exact time listed on the card, and he graphically splatters across the front of the train. And not to be subtle, this train's tracks have also been destroyed, sending our bullet train careening off the tracks into the populace below, killing hundreds of people. And
God.
Nemesis, Mission Impossible style slow-mo, walks out of there.
Oh my gosh.
Now, this of course was after committing multiple acts of terrorism in Tokyo. I should also add that this is like the first few pages of the first issue, so
so like you're in or you're out.
So you're in or you're out at this point. Like, this is gonna happen. And by the way, a lot of cursing. Like, our police chief doesn't say, my family will avenge me, or you'll never get away with it.
Or I only regret that I have one life to live for this comic.
Right. It's I beep 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 beep. Train hits him in the face, basically.
Sure.
So as far as our villain, Nemesis, his personality can be defined as basically an a-hole who knows everything and plans for basically everything.
Right.
This will be continued to explain as we go through here.
Okay.
So that's about it. So no arc, no development. He's a constant stream of douchebaggery.
Sure.
Yeah. So enter our hero, Blake Morrow. So Blake is the police chief in Washington, D.C., and being, I guess, an American-centric comic, we know that he's the real hero because it's in America, I guess. Fine.
Which is strange since Mark Millar is Scottish.
Exactly. It's not the Scottish chief of police. Do they have chiefs of police? Anyways.
Sure.
He's in his late 40s and early 50s is our Blake Morrow character. So he's not like this kind of like young, hot, like beat, or new chief or whatever. This is the guy who's been around for a while.
He's not Ben McKenzie. He's Commissioner Gordon.
He's not New Gotham.
He's Gary Oldman, Commissioner Gordon.
He is very much Gary. Well, a little bit. So Blake is the chief of police in Washington, D.C., like I've said, and he is Jim Gordon. But if Jim Gordon never had to worry about moral decisions...
in that his job is easy and they never come up?
It's like the first time he's introduced, he's basically in a convenience store, and the first shot of Blake Morrow is after he, with a shotgun, cold kills like 3 robbers. Like violently blows them away with a shotgun. Just like, well, good thing I was here, and just like tosses the shotgun away and like walks out.
Off to go do paperwork forever. Because that's what you do when you do that.
That's what you do when you have a shotgun and just blow away a bunch of people in a convenience store. Yeah. They were robbers. Robbers, in all fairness.
You will still do paperwork forever.
Yeah, you will still do it forever. So he's like a Wild West sheriff, and we're told very clearly that he puts his job before his family. I mean, this is like reiterated very heavily, maybe too heavily.
Is it shown, or is it told, not shown?
I think like it's more like told and not shown.
Yeah.
But more on that in a bit. So after Nemesis has systematically killed, we cut back to Nemesis, systematically killed and embarrassed every police chief in Asia.
Wait.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Okay.
Every police chief in Asia.
This man's got a thing.
The biggest continent with people.
Yeah, it's got a lot of people in Asia, I believe.
It's got all of them, I think.
He has
Does it include the Russian section?
I don't believe they go into specifics. They're like, now let's specify what is Asia and what's not Asia.
Did we do India? Did I get that? Yeah, I covered that one.
They didn't have Yakko come in from the Animaniacs. So like, and just point to all the like Nemesis locations. But
missed opportunity,
clearly, guys. But yes, he did. He embarrassed and or basically murdered all of the police chiefs.
Embarrassed or murdered feels like a vast difference. When you say embarrassed, you don't mean embarrassed.
Embarrassed is like maybe even embarrassed through death, like, splattered on the front of a train after cursing violently and then careening off,
Or embarrassed in a career-ending
way, and then killed. I don't know. This guy doesn't seem like he would leave anybody alive.
Yeah,
he's pretty terrible. Again, a-hole king of douchebaggery.
Yeah.
So now he has set his sights on Blake Morrow in Washington, D.C. because, of course,
because once you've conquered Asia, you go for
you go for Washington, D.C.
Eastern Seaboard, yeah.
Apparently. So clearly this is a personal vendetta, and he sends Blake his trademark white card with his name and time of death, and a quote at the bottom that says, "Flatline still counts." So...
okay, interesting.
So we're setting up some stuff, and it's basically kind of even like throwbacks to some of those things we saw with Joker, which I believe the Killing Joke, where it was like, I'm going to kill the mayor at this time on this night, basically.
Or Laughing Fish,
or Laughing,
or The Man Who Laughs. Right?
The Man Who Laughs, I think is what I meant. Yeah. And so this guy's serious, and he plans everything out, and look. You got to take this guy seriously because he has
a track record.
He has a pretty good
on
track
the
record.
Train tracks.
Horrible pun.
Murder pun.
Murder puns, everybody. So guys, right, so the stakes are being set up, so we're waiting to see like the escalation. Like, are we gonna have some scenes of him like slowly arriving at the docks, maybe some murders here and there? So what does Nemesis do to get his attention? Well, how about hijacking Air Force One, crashing it into the city, and holding the president for ransom? Because that's exactly what happens.
Is this still issue 1?
This is still like issue 1, Mike. This is the first thing that happens when he comes to Washington, D.C.
He hijacks Air Force One. Well,
He
Go
does
big or go home.
He does it midair. He doesn't like sneak on.
Oh, I knew what you meant.
He lands under the front of the plane.
Wait.
With the front of the plane.
He boards it midair.
Yeah, doesn't go inside it. He's on the front of it. In front of the glass windows with a giant, comically large white gun, by the way, to match his fully white outfit.
Oh, God.
And just blows away everybody in the cockpit. And then crash lands the plane. And then very Joker style does like, I broadcast to the world.
Yeah.
President on like the kind of the dunce chair, or like the king's chair with like him tied up.
Oh, gotcha.
So, that's what he does to get his attention, Mike.
But that's only to get the chief of police's attention. I feel like that's going to be covered under the jurisdiction of anyone else.
Yeah, I feel like that's like the end game scene, but this is what happens in issue 1, guys.
No, guys. I don't want the FBI. I don't want the Secret Service. I want this guy.
Yeah. So if anyone's still thinking this is insane, it gets a lot crazier. So again,
Jeez.
Here we go.
Oh, gosh.
So clearly this is a problem. So Blake and probably every important person mobilizes at the Pentagon to discuss what to do. Meanwhile, Nemesis sends Blake really weird and overly complicated riddles that don't really make sense, and he commits odd crimes around said riddles, like some kind of like, what's black and white and red, and it's like a dead, person on the steps of something. It doesn't like really add up. It's like weird twisted jokes.
Basically. It's
almost like if you remember old 60s Batman, where like the riddles would be sometimes so overly complicated, and yet Batman would somehow get there. Like,
oh, I see.
It's on the C for Catwoman. Like, how did you make that leap? No one made that leap. Who makes those kind of leaps? Only you and this other crazy person.
Right.
So
you have to be just the matching level of crazy.
Of just crazy, which apparently Blake Morrow is, because like a few times he's like, yes, of course it was that, or yeah, and like I'm reading and I'm like, I guess. So what do these riddles accomplish? Nothing. Just exposing Blake's inability to catch him, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Which is,
I mean, fair.
Yeah, but it's still, when you kick things up to, get president first.
Feels like the riddles
and
are
then you're just killing a
down.
random person, like, based on riddles. A little bit of a step down.
But it's really just adding insult to injury.
Yeah, basically. So,
adding few injuries to massive injuries.
Massive. So, as Blake sits in the Pentagon, pondering the most recent riddle surrounded by important people, again, he discovers the answer to this specific riddle is actually the Pentagon. And moments later, everyone but Blake and his colleague die in the Pentagon. Like,
wait, hang on. So it's moments after he's figured it out.
So it's
timed to the moment.
Apparently, Mike.
That's a lot of murder.
Yeah. Nemesis.
It's the biggest office building in the world.
Yeah. So they run out of the room, they turn, and they see Nemesis standing in one of the hallways with his goons. And Nemesis claims that he's pumped a nerve agent into the building and has killed basically everyone. So, things aren't good right now.
Things are not good, no.
Yeah. He tries to shoot at him, but there's like bulletproof glass. He's like, it's the Pentagon. And then Nemesis just disappears. So far, tally, president kidnapped, some people dead, Pentagon all dead.
So it's like 2-0.
Yeah. We're still not halfway through the Nemesis series. Okay. So Blake has an idea, right? He knows that Nemesis is terrible, so he sets up a fake...
I mean, I feel like everyone at this point knows that Nemesis is terrible. He killed... Or embarrassed at the very least every police chief in Asia. Now, here's my question: is he going to go back and get the replacements?
For what? Oh, the new people they've hired?
Someone will take over that job.
True. Well, again, if this is the opposite of Batman, his work is never done, Mike. There's always more justice figures to fight.
It's a never-ending battle.
It's a never-ending battle for our poor Nemesis. He will never be justice, Mike.
Oh my gosh.
So terrible.
Why not just aim higher than police chiefs?
I don't know.
If you use this to take down nations?
I love he used the president to get to the police chief.
That's my point.
The man's crazy, Mike. So... Blake, right? He's setting up this trap.
Yeah.
He sets up a fake heart transplant for a child in need, knowing that Nemesis is just the worst and would totally go out of his way to screw over one child to make a point, and he manages to catch him in the act of stealing his heart. Now, by catch him, I mean there's a chase. Nemesis abandons his all-white car to enter his all-white Batpod motorcycle straight out of Dark Knight. It is definitely this moment. The white car separates. He's now in a white Batpod.
Gosh.
He kills dozens of cops in a high-speed chase, blows up a helicopter, jumps off a pier into a lake, swims through the sewer, comes up a random manhole, and Blake catches him there. The perfect plan, Mike. the perfect Blake Morrow plan.
Oh my gosh. Oh, what?
Okay.
I know there's scenes like that in The Dark Knight.
There are scenes
I am
like
not
that.
an idiot.
Yes.
I know that Jim Gordon performs a very similar stunt that should never have worked.
Right.
At least Dark Knight
Because
says
we know
things
there's more
about the
issues,
world.
Mike. We know he's not kidnapped forever. Because, the next issue still says Nemesis
I mean,
on
like,
it.
the story means nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, at least Dark Knight talks about, like, power.
Right, yeah. You've got a good grasp of it so far, Mike. And there's still more to come.
Okay.
So now...
How far into issue 3 are we?
I don't believe we're in issue 3 yet, Mike.
Oh, God.
I think we're just about to enter issue 3 right now.
Okay, so we're about halfway.
We're getting about halfway, guys. Deep breaths. Now, Nemesis is in jail, but of course, this was all his plan. Okay.
Yeah, it's the Dark Knight.
Of course. He breaks out of his binds. He kills 97 tactical armed guards with no weapons, Mike. By himself.
Because he's a badass,
Because he's a badass, Mike. He literally breaks out of his binds. One of his guys has infiltrated to help him break out. And the guy's like, hey, you want me to... And he's like, no, I got this. It's just like, there's just 90... He's like, there's 100 of them. He's like, no, it's just 97. And he kills all of them in horribly graphic detail with, like, using their clubs. And it's just bad. So then he frees all of the prisoners who all escape outside to find... Oh, man.
Uh-oh.
Here we go. My favorite part.
Oh, no.
All the prisoners escape outside to find a Nemesis white car waiting for each one of them, Mike. The parking lot of this prison is filled with dozens and hundreds of Nemesis white cars so that they can all get in and drive away and the people will be confused. Because look at all those Nemesis white cars, Mike. Mike,
it's so dumb.
He's curling into the fetal position right now.
I legitimately am. I felt it coming. I was just like, oh, this is going to be bad.
So many white cars.
Because,
Who put all of those there? Was it during the prison riot?
Who didn't notice
Did people
that?
just drive those up and go like, there are hundreds of beautiful Lamborghini white pristine cars outside.
Oh my
Who
God.
are those for?
I mean, they're in the lot.
They're in the lot, Mike. They're just out the front door.
Somebody gave... like 100, 200 identical cars, parking passes, one after the next.
Absolutely.
Every one of them paid with exact change.
Apparently.
I don't...
This happened.
Because, the Joker drove a school bus, and he hid the school bus amongst other school buses.
And if we think that's...
If you think that was cool and clever, then what if it was 100 cars?
I mean, guys, hundreds of cars. All the prisoners have got cars. Hopefully...
so close to...
Free cars, guys. Also, he kidnapped Blake's kids while this was happening, because of course he did.
Wait, hang on. Hang on. So he breaks out of prison.
No.
I have a question.
His henchman kidnapped while he was in prison.
But I have a question.
Yeah.
He has not been unmasked.
No. And the reason how it's explained that he hasn't been unmasked is because his mask has been wired with, like, explosives to kill him. And they can't kill him because the president is still missing. So he says, if you unmask me, it'll explode and kill me, and you'll never find the president. He'll die. So that's why they give a reason to it.
That's fair. It's not like he has 200 accomplices.
Let's put a few points back. There we go.
Oh, hang on.
Hold on a second. So again, Blake kids are kidnapped because, of course.
Yeah.
Did I not mention when he was captured, he actually declared to Blake that this was all part of his plan? I didn't mention that because he did, and I guess no one took him seriously. The guy who kidnapped the president.
And killed
everyone in the Pentagon.
Every chief of police in Asia.
Yep. No one took him seriously when he said this was all part of his plan, because of course not. And Blake Morrow took no precautions, I guess, because he's terrible. So now Nemesis has his kids.
Sure.
And the president.
Sure.
And in order to return his kids, Nemesis tells Blake he must reveal 3 of his greatest secrets to the world via the news.
Just the kids, not the president.
No, he's just going to release the kids. He does. So Blake does. He does this, and these secrets are his wife slept with his colleague, his son is gay, and his daughter had an abortion.
How old are his kids? I was picturing them a lot younger.
Yeah, no. His kids are, I guess, they're high school. Like,
okay,
they're later. Like, I think the son is earlier high school. I think the daughter's a little bit later.
Again, I was picturing the scene where Two-Face abducts Jim Gordon's kids.
Yes, this is
and
not
they're
bad.
they're like 8 and 10.
Yeah.
I was like, geez, that does not line up.
The kids are a little bit older than that. Yeah.
Okay.
So, guys, he does this. Nemesis is good on his word. his kids are released to him. One more thing. Nemesis impregnated Blake's daughter through fertilization by Blake's son, Mike.
No, God.
He impregnated, if you missed it.
A couple episodes ago, I said I wasn't the biggest Mark Millar fan, and now I feel like I don't feel as bad for saying that.
This is why we did Starlight first, so I could talk about Nemesis later.
He raped her with her brother.
No, well, it was, I believe he, extracted and then...
It was artificial insemination.
And then he was artificial insemination.
Okay.
No, he didn't, I don't believe it was forced rape.
Well, it's still...
Look, it's still horrible. By the way, okay, hold on. By Blake's son, and if they try to abort the child, Blake's daughter can't have children ever again through some magic uterus bomb.
This is an unfortunate... the sad part is that we just decided to stop swearing on this show.
We did.
I feel like it's that scene in Airplane, like, I picked a hell of a day to quit drinking.
Hell of a day to quit drinking.
We picked a really bad episode to stop swearing.
Oh, man, yes. Whew, okay.
So are we at least by the end of issue 3?
We're very close. We're very close, guys. We're almost at the finish line.
I feel dirty.
Yeah. So now it's time for Blake to basically make his final move against Nemesis, and he does this by having one of his men infiltrate Nemesis's unit. The mole reveals who Nemesis really is, and he is Matthew Anderson, the son of the parents Blake Morrow arrested when he was younger. So we're getting a little bit more of this personal background. Why is there such a huge vendetta against him?
Against him, but not the other police chiefs.
Why was he saved for last? Right? So Nemesis's parents apparently used to bring vagrants and homeless people to their estate, a huge estate, and hunt them for sport while wearing old Victorian garb and powdered wigs because, of course, they did.
Yeah.
And Blake found out Nemesis's dad hung himself, and the mom got executed, so little Matthew Anderson grew up to train and become this monster now known as Nemesis, and Blake basically uses this information to track Nemesis to his real hideout, which is his old parents' estate, where he has been posing as his now elderly uncle this whole time. Anyways, they arrive, and of course, it's a trap!
Oh, thank you. I didn't know who you were queuing up.
Right. So everyone but Blake is killed. Why not?
Sure, because
they go in there, a bomb goes off, kills all the SWAT
Blake
people.
should just stop bringing people with him, because every time he takes someone anywhere, they all die but him.
Right. So Nemesis reveals that he actually had a mole in Blake's group, because of course, Blake's longtime partner and friend, because apparently he's been planning this for years.
Again, just like The Dark Knight, where Anna Ramirez, his right-hand woman, turns out to be in the mob hand.
And guys, because his plans are crazy elaborate, I think literally one of his henchmen is like, you don't know how crazy, like, he plans these for years in advance.
No, I
he's just the smartest, like Mike. He's the smartest. Okay.
Look, Mark Millar,
by the way,
I liked The Dark Knight too.
After this is revealed, by the way,
I make you pay for my fan fiction.
By the way, after this happens, Nemesis just kills the mole right in front of Blake because he's evil.
I figured.
Nobody cared, and we knew it was going to happen. So anyways, Blake is knocked out. He wakes up in the White House. So we're in boss stage, basically. And Nemesis sits with him in the Oval Office after killing all the guards and Secret Service at the White House, because that's a thing you can do when you are this person, I guess. He then straps a bomb to both his wife and the president, forcing him to choose between the job and his wife. We reference Dark Knight. Guys, this is the ending to Dark Knight.
It's the end of the second act. Yeah. It's the halfway point.
Right. And I believe, actually, if I remember correctly, it's just like The Dark Knight, where I think the wife can blow up the president and the president can blow up the wife.
Oh, it's like the fairies.
It's just like the fairies,
It's like the fairies at the end of the film. I thought you were talking about the barrels.
And neither of them have chosen, so Nemesis is kind of mad about that.
I gotcha. Jeez, man.
Yeah, so in a straight-up Andrew Jackson moment, and if you don't know who that is, check out your history, guys, the president runs up to Nemesis and asks Blake to pull the trigger as the president is like 2 feet away from Nemesis, like, I'm done, let's kill this guy, blow it up and get him. And he totally does. He blows Nemesis out onto the front lawn, and then we proceed with a hand-to-hand guns battle, which culminates in
hand-to-hand guns battle?
Like, they're fighting at first, then they both get guns, and then there's this, like, big wide shot of the two of them firing guns at each other.
So I thought it was like Equilibrium, where they're firing and
no
then
cool
hitting
gun
each other.
katas in this thing, Mike. Just straight-up punches between two beaten up people and some guy in a white suit.
And then they're shooting at each other.
They're shooting at each other.
So they went from fisticuffs to guns. That's the opposite of what you need
direction,
to do.
yeah.
That's what you need to build the suspense, to get it more personal.
Mike, the first thing that happened was the President of the United States was kidnapped. What did you expect?
I guess that's true. The stake...
The stakes was at the highest.
They've not been raising the stakes.
So Nemesis gets shot in the head, killed.
Great.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
And Blake gets shot in the chest. Oh no, he might die. So Blake is rushed to the hospital, but he survives. But of course there's a shot...
I've known this was coming.
But of course there's a shot of where he flatlines.
Yep.
And the sun is looking up at the clock, and it's that exact time.
Yep.
And there's a tight shot of Nemesis's dead face on a slab smiling with a bullet hole in his head. Because a flat line counts, Mike.
Okay, but if you're Nemesis...
He planned...
You can just kill him.
Yep.
You don't have to win on a technicality when you can just win regular.
Yep. Nemesis is a wizard, guys. That's the moral of the story.
He's a genie.
Now, last thing I want to say is this. Oh, God. We're now coming to what I feel is probably one of the craziest part of the story. Deep breaths, everyone. So, we're in our tail end, our epilogue, basically. Blake has left his job behind. He's sitting with his wife in the Caribbean somewhere, drinking some fancy drinks, enjoying life. A waiter comes up to him and sits down and receives probably the most expensive bottle in the world with a card on it, saying, "Congrats on killing Nemesis." Also, did I mention he wasn't really Matthew Anderson and he was just a crazy rich guy who likes to spend his money in crazy ways? And apparently there's an organization out there that just suits up crazy rich people with whatever personalities they want to be and lets them do whatever they want, because that's what happens here at the end. That's what this card reveals.
So,
Mike,
hang on.
But wait. And that there's
So, hang on, just to clarify.
Yeah.
There was a real Nemesis.
So, that Nemesis who he killed, right?
He was some rich guy.
He was some rich guy, but he was pretending to be a character named Matthew Anderson.
Yeah.
It's revealed that Matthew Anderson actually died somewhere in Europe, and this was just a show. It's all a charade. Like, wouldn't it be cooler if I had a person, like a background that meshed against yours? Wouldn't that make our conflict more interesting?
Then we have a rivalry.
Yeah, why not undermine, the little bit of rivalry in this comic at the very end?
And then, this group takes people,
so there's a
and
group,
sort of like
apparently,
the Hobgoblin in current comics,
basically sells these
identities
to them and sets them up with their own. He wanted to be a super villain, and apparently supervillains are becoming more popular, so you're going to see more of these.
Oh, I see. It's not just supervillain identities. It's whatever identity you want.
But apparently now supervillains is the new craze, so you're going to start to see more Nemesises, I'm sure. But he says, at the end of his letter, he says, "But don't worry, Blake Morrow, you're safe. So you got through it, and you're fine." Now, the craziest part about this, guys, is that this letter in bottle, the butler clearly states, has been waiting for Blake here for 10 years.
Guys.
So, if you thought that you could plan really well...
Hang on. 10 years as in 10 years from now, come to this man, or just whenever he gets here.
No. It was, I believe it was exactly to the 10 years of this time.
Are you Marty McFly?
Apparently,
I have a letter for you.
The supervillain has time travel powers because he knew through his perfect planning that Blake Morrow would be at this place after killing Nemesis, after all of the events of this day, to deliver him this expensive bottle and letter.
What do you want to do? I want to go to the Caribbean. Are you sure? Nah, let's go to literally anywhere else, and this won't happen.
The alternative to this is that this guy sends so many bottles and nice letters everywhere just to be clever and cool.
Let's be fair, you just pay off the guy. Say it's been there for 10 years. That's the easier
That's
answer.
true. Maybe that's really the trick, but that's probably not what happened.
Not what was
intended.
The Mark Millar comics.
Yeah, so that's what basically brings us this. The main segment, Nemesis by Mark Millar. You don't have to read it, because you just enjoyed it now.
So this is the part where ordinarily Jay would say, "Mike, that was a great main segment."
That is the part where I would say it. But I've slowly crushed Mike's soul over the last 20 minutes or so.
Here's the thing. When we get to the New Year's episode, there's going to be some more soul crushing.
It's going to be some payback on the other end.
No, it's going to be
for both of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, got a lot of eggnog before that episode, basically.
Yeah, when we get there, guys, you'll understand exactly what we're talking about.
Cool.
Jay, thank you so much for doing the main segment. Thanks for doing the heavy lifting on that one.
Glad to do it.
That was a lot of fun, actually.
A lot of fun.
That was as dopey that was the best case scenario for Nemesis.
Right, absolutely.
And now we're going to roll into our game segment, and for this episode, it's Who Am I?
Who am I?
Alright guys, this is our game segment. Every other episode we do Who Am I? The way this works is basically 20 questions. Normally Jay has in his head a hero or villain or anti-hero from Marvel or DC, and then I have to guess who it is, and I have lifelines. I get to ask about an event, a relevant event in this character's life or publication life, and I get to ask about a quote that the character might have said. Ordinarily, Jay has the character in his mind, I ask questions, and then he says, Kite Man, and we all laugh. A lot.
I literally am sitting here like in a hot seat.
Yeah.
Because exactly the last time we did this was Kite Man.
Episode 14, True Believers. But
oh boy.
This time, I have a character in my head. Jay has 20 questions, or, fewer if you can.
Thanks.
Well, it's tough. It's a tough game.
It is a tough game.
The
As
thing
Kite
is,
Man can attest, everyone.
20 questions does not normally need lifelines. Comics necessitate them.
Absolutely they do.
So, Jay, kick it off.
All right. So, of course, the standard first question, Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Okay, all right, here we go. Male, female, or neither?
Male.
Male, Marvel, okay. Villain, hero, or anti-hero?
Villain.
Okay, so a Marvel male villain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is this a... Try to knock out some groups here. A Spider-Man villain.
Yes.
Okay. Shit. As much as that narrows it down, it doesn't narrow it down that much.
He does have maybe the best rogues gallery in comics,
and especially
second to Batman.
But I would say in Marvel Comics, he has the best.
I think so.
Okay.
That's fair.
Is this villain a scientist or like a super scientist of some kind?
No.
Okay.
I can't say that he's never scienced, but
never scienced,
he's not a
because
scientist.
but not a scientist specifically.
Exactly.
Okay. Is this villain more of like a grunt kind of like he's hired for jobs, like how like
Electro, a Rhino, or
a Rhino or a Shocker? They're all hired for jobs. They're not really like the leaders of a job.
Right. No.
Okay, so he kind of like runs his own thing.
Is that a follow-up question, or is that...
No. I'm just thinking out loud. Does he use science in some way to do his villainy? Like Shocker has a suit, but he didn't make it.
Right. Again, there's exceptions, but I would say as a rule, as his MO, no.
No, he doesn't use it. Okay, that cuts out a lot of Spider-Man villains, actually. That cuts out pretty much most of them. No Scorpion, no Vulture, no... Is his villainy usually done... His combats with Spider-Man, is it usually done through, like, physical combats?
How do you mean? I guess clarify.
I mean, like, most of his things entail, like, his encounters with Spider-Man are not like, I've set a trap for you, or I've done this for you. It's, I want to punch and beat you up because...
I would say, no, they don't tend to be, I want to beat you up.
Okay.
They don't tend to end that way.
Okay, so that rules out Kraven.
Yeah.
Damn it, for a while I thought it was going to be Kraven the Hunter. Just like he hunts him, he's like, jeez. Okay, I'm going to go for a lifeline.
Okay.
Can I get a quote?
Alrighty. The quote is, I know all about you, Eddie. For instance, I know about your recent troubles with Osborn. I'm out to get him too. That is an Oscorp truck, filled with his drugs, his merchandise. Let my men take it. And he's the one who'll get hurt. Okay,
so he works with Eddie Brock at some point. He's not a fan of the Osborns, and he has men. Okay, so that's a lot of stuff in that quote there.
Yeah.
And we are talking about, I'll use this, we are talking about Eddie Brock.
Yes, when he says Eddie, he does mean Eddie Brock.
Eddie Brock,
That is
okay.
question 9.
Damn it. No freebies there. Does this villain ever learn Spider-Man's true identity?
No.
No. Okay. Is this villain's name based on an animal?
No.
No. Okay. So it rules out Jackal, Scorpion, things like that, which is a lot of Spider-Man villains.
Chameleon.
Oh, okay. Oh my god, what is his name? Is that who it is?
You look so excited.
I do. I'm trying to think of what his name is. I don't want to say it, but I want to at least get close to it because I think he fits all these things.
Okay.
Okay, I will. Maybe this will narrow it down. I will ask for the event. Okay. I'm interested.
He once cured someone of cancer, and that person later went on a mutated rampage.
Is this Mr. Negative?
It is Mr. Negative.
Yes, Mr. Negative. I thought it was. Oh my god. I was like, oh, you know who I was also in between, which I guess doesn't line up at all when you think of Mr. Negative, was who's the guy? Is it Hammerhead?
Hammerhead.
Yes, because he has goons, but he doesn't know. I mean,
Hammerhead can be a bit of a hired gun. That would be where it falls
that's
apart
true.
for
He
him.
used a hired gun often for like Kingpin and things like that.
Especially for Kingpin, but for Mr. Negative actually.
Oh,
during Brand New Day, he was a hired gun for Mr. Negative.
Yeah, but as soon as you said he was curing cancer and turned somebody into an anti-venom, basically.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So guys, for you who may not know, Mr. Negative was a philanthropist named Martin Lee who also changed into a photo-negative version of himself named Mr. Negative. Martin Lee does not know about Mr. Negative. Yes.
It's like a weird Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing.
Yeah, and Mr. Negative is a gangster and a crime lord of, like, I guess, like a version of the Yakuza kind of.
Yeah, basically.
Not exactly, but it's
in New York.
Close to that.
But guys, Mike, thank you for running the game, and
thank you for running the main segment.
This was really weird, wacky, bizarre episode for us. A lot of fun.
It was indeed. It wasn't our April Fool's Day episode. It was just something we wanted to try, and
absolutely
we'll do from time to time. Yeah, when Jay has a story he's really yearning.
And guys, I just had to tell the Nemesis story.
Watch me suffer through.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Well, that was episode 16 of Because Comics. We'll be posting a new episode every other week. If you'd like to download more episodes or check out other similar podcasts, head over to partialarc.com. That's arc with a C. Of course, you can email us any questions at becausecomics@gmail.com. Again, please leave us some reviews or 5 stars on iTunes if you can. It really helps other people find the show and get us out there to new viewers. It would be a huge help. So thank you so much.
We would love you forever.
We would love you forever. Mike will send you a personal love letter.
I mean, I might do that either way.
It can be helped. All right. Of course, be sure to check out more content from our comic boy wonder, Mike Christensen, at supergeekmike.com, and follow him on Twitter at supergeekmike. Thanks for listening, and remember,
home is where you hang your hearts.
Oh.
What? Is that not how it goes?
It is,
Is that not how the expression goes?
I don't think it exactly goes like that.
I'm pretty sure.
Home is where you hang your hearts.
That's what my parents always said.
Really? Did you live with zombie parents?
Because comics.